It's time to roll. The Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series comes to you live here on Turn 1 from New Hampshire. Sean Fitz alongside Kevin England. We're getting ready for what could be a really exciting race here at New Hampshire. Kevin, it's really interesting. I talked to Justin Fuller last night. That driver there, he's qualified 5th. Says he is ready to roll here, but Kevin DeBrown, Mark Jorgensen, Brian Macklin, and Cody Harris all qualifying ahead of him there. Not a long race. They're not here for a long time, but they're here for a good time. This very flat track here in New Hampshire.
Tell you, my favorite track by far. I love the fact that you scream down in, slam the brakes on, roll through the corner, hammer up off the corner to the back straightaway, and do it all again, coming back to the front straight. This is such a technical driver's track. One little slip, you come up out of the groove. You really have to root and gouge to get a pass. And we're going to see some amazing action here at New Hampshire.
We certainly are. These drivers, the elite of the elite, a full field here with the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series. 35 cars ready to take on this racetrack. And again, as Kevin mentioned, it is flat. It requires you to be consistent and careful with the car. We've seen this machine, these Cup Series cars, be very aero-dependent and very aero-strong. We'll see if that plays a factor into tonight's race. They qualified. They've got warm-up. They've got practice out of the way. And now the pace car is going to head down pit road. Kevin DeBrown, Mark Jorgensen Jr. bring him down the start-finish line, and the green flag is out. We're racing at New Hampshire.
Side by side down into turn number 1. Still a drag race coming up off the corner here as the 30 of Macklin looking to slot into that third position. And sideways goes your leader.
No!
This is going to be big as the 93 around 51 noses into the wall. The 2 is involved. Jason Karlovaj hard on the binders. He's able to escape it, but it's a melee out of turn 2 in lap number 1.
The backstretch scattered with a bunch of cars. This all started on the front, and it started, I believe, here with Kevin DeBrown, Mark Jorgensen Jr. coming off a 2. Jorgensen gets loose, tags the 93 and the 30, has nowhere to go. Kevin, we're lucky that wasn't more of a parking lot there on the backstretch, considering where that happened.
Yeah, just coming up out of 2, cold tires, the car stepped out for Mark Jorgensen Jr., and he nicked the 93, almost got away with it. And then, well, what happens when turn 1, out of turn 1, you're hammered down coming to the front stretch for the first, or to the back stretch for the first time, and the 2 lead cars are sitting sideways in the racetrack. You know what's going to happen. There's a lot of contact, a lot of bent fenders, a lot of bent bumpers, and there is a lot of work going to go on down on pit road. Nobody would have called for that one here on turn 2 out of lap 1. Sean, I can't say I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, I think you're spot on, though, Kevin. They were just really hard charging to get off of turn 2 there. We know at times how aggressive you've got to be to get off the corner there to maintain that position, and DeBrown felt the pressure, and ultimately it really had nothing to do with it. It was more Jorgensen just spun the right front, spun the right rear, caught it up. Well, that's going to collect 11 cars in that incident. That includes DeBrown. Justin Fuller, I saw denoted with an incident there. Robert Infinity III, Randy Yoakum, Mike Montesi involved, Jason Pick had contact, DJ O'Rourke, Joe Hudson, Nelson Rivera, Doug Sigmund, Ron Holyfield involved here. And Kevin, some of those names there are in point contention here tonight. But one driver I saw get slowed up and skirt to the left was the driver of that 20 machine.
Yeah, Schildhouse, he did a little juke to the left there and just missed it right at the end. I thought he was going to get a piece of that, but he was able to make the splash and go graphic Chevrolet squeeze through that little gap, and he's fortunate for it. Now he's going to get a great restart here. He's going to be sitting in the top 5 for the restart. Is the rest of the cars that were involved scramble. You really have to hustle coming out of the pits here with 1 to go to get to the back of the field before the restart. Is the pace car takes you down the back straightaway. All of the cars that exited the pit are down here on the front stretch, going around turn 1, trying to catch the back of the field.
Tyler Dalton going to take big advantage of that incident. Him, Bentley Glazer, Chad Coleman, David Schildhouse, Eric Arnold, your top 5 as they get ready to go back green flag racing. Some of the drivers involved in that incident had to come down pit road, and that includes Justin Fuller. He decided to stop here on lap 2. He's all the way in the rear. This is going to be an exciting race to watch them race back forward. Meanwhile, the green flag's back out. Tyler Dalton gets them rolling, and we'll see if they can roll through turn 1.
Second verse, same as the first. Let's hope not, though, as they roll out of turn 2 to the backstretch. Clean up front, as out front, Tyler is able to get the gap, and I know we're going to talk about this all night tonight. Everybody in that top 10 is going to have better aero. Better aero is so important at this racetrack, and all those drivers who had to do a reset and go in the back of the field, they're really going to struggle to make track position here. As Dalton out by 1 car length over the veteran Chad Coleman in the 38. The Snap-on Chevrolet sits quietly in second with 2 car lengths back to the 36 of Bentley Glazer, and here comes Schildhouse to the bottom. Look at the lanes that they're running. Schildhouse painting the blue line down there on the bottom. Other cars up in the high line, some running through the middle. That is one of the greatest features of this racetrack. You can run any groove you desire.
Yeah, bottom, top, it really doesn't matter. Obviously, the bottom being the shortest way around this racetrack here, but not by much. And ultimately, you've got to just, you've got to cater to the handling characteristics of the car and your driving style. Right now, Chad Coleman and David Shieldhouse running basically identical lines through each other's tire tracks as they roll through 3 and 4. David Comstock, he's in the top 5. Again, paying dividends on staying out of trouble there, at least not getting too much damage. Eric Arnold, Wesley Donaldson sitting 6th and 7th. Jose Gonzalez, Bobby Wetzel, Stephen Miles, Anthony Calatoni sitting 11th. EJR Workman had some contact in that incident, but he is right now maintaining that 12th place spot. Just to check back in, we've got some of the point sitters back here. That's Cody Harris. He's riding around at the moment in a bit of a tangle of traffic. And Kevin, I imagine traffic here at this racetrack, and knowing you've got to race yourself forward, especially on a points night or a points, you can't afford to give up too many more points here. It's got to be difficult because as many lanes as there is, there's not a lot of opportunity to make these passes. This race is going to fly by quick.
Yeah, the difficulty is you also have to mind the tire wear. And as you charge the corners, trying to get up to and get underneath and go around the cars in front of you, you got to hold the car down, and that tends to increase the tire wear for that right front. You're really trying to get the best run you can up off the corner to get alongside the car next to you and then go squirt past it before you get through the center of the corner. And we're watching these drivers out in the back. Out front, it's a little bit single file as everybody's settled in, but there's a lot of scrapping going on for positions deep in the field.
Yeah, Bobby Wetzel and Anthony Calatoni side by side. Wetzel on that outside line. You saw it goose it up a little bit coming off of 3 and get a little bit of momentum rolling, but you got to be careful with that. As Kevin mentioned, these tires, they scrub really hard here. It's a very flat racetrack here at New Hampshire, so you've got to mind your P's and Q's on that throttle. Otherwise, that right front's going to scrub off really quick. You can't get on it as hard as you think you would. And after a couple laps, you'll see these cars start to get that right rear wore in a little bit as Calatoni falls down behind EJ O'Rourke. And especially off turn 2, these drivers will start to get a little fishtail going on. And as the fuel load comes off and the tires begin to wear here as they are under green flag conditions, lap number 12, and we've got a fight for the lead.
Yeah, Coleman looks to the inside, see if he can make the pass. He's got down underneath. He's going to go down actually to the apron, help to rotate the car down low. He rolls off at turn 4, clearly in the lead. He's going to come back and lead lap number 12 in the books, working lap number 13. Chad Coleman, P1, new leader here at New Hampshire.
David Shieldhouse really driving off into the corner there in 1. He's going to get clear of Tyler Dalton. That was one of the better quarter entries into 1 I've seen. And then you see Shieldhouse running all the way out to that wall at the exit of turn 2 to get the car as straight as possible. And then now down hard into the corner. Coleman again entering lower but scrubbing up the racetrack a little bit. I do believe we'll see that 38 continue to fall back to Shieldhouse. That line looks like it's going to wear that tire just a little bit. They're both evenly now into 1 and 2. Tyler Dalton has settled into 3rd. No pressure. Bentley Glazer, David Comstock, your top 5. And basically throughout the top 10, it's mostly single filed out. We get back to, whoa, well, they're going to make a liar of me here. Well, nope, they won't. Just back behind this group here. Who is this? This is Jason Karlovaj, Kevin Stoll, Joe Hudson. They're all battling still side by side as they work through turn 3 on lap 15.
Yeah, that battle back there for the 18th position. And I was looking at the lap times early on a couple laps ago. All the front runners, we were talking about how fast it is to be up in that first top 10. We're all in the 29-second bracket. And you could look at some of those drivers who were super fast out in the back. They were in the mid-30s, 30-14s, 30-40s, 30-50s and such. And it is such a slog being out in the back of this field. Track position is just about everything. And looking at, say, our point leader, the 51 of Justin Fuller, he is stuck back there in the 28th position. I have to wonder if he has a little aero damage, as he does not seem to be carrying the speed. And for right now, he just has to hope that maybe he can find some cautions and let the crew get that car back into shape for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Justin Fuller coming into the night only, I think under 10 points to the good. I believe it was 4 at this rate over David Shieldhouse. Then it was a 3 or 4 way tie, a 4th. So it's certainly tied in a points battle here for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series. And not the night Justin Fuller wanted to have. We spoke to him last night on the Sunday Night Surge series. He brought home a top 3, and he was really excited about that to leave Michigan, and he was really excited to come to New Hampshire, knowing that I believe he put out a great stat or mentioned it that over the last year or so, his average finish here across 6 starts was 1.6. So high expectations out of Justin Fuller. Unfortunately, that incident on lap 1 has him marred back at 28th and not making a whole lot of headway.
I guess the good news for Fuller is that if you're going to have troubles, lap 1 is the place to have it as you get enough time. But this track, once you get into about 10 to 15 laps, tends to show green. These drivers end up racing each other right in proximity, and it's not until we see a little bit of tire wear and a little bit of hustle that you see drivers kind of contesting and making contact. So I expect it will stay green, and the question lies with what will drivers do for strategy. As soon as I say that, what happens? Yellow comes out.
Yeah, we were watching that battle. That was really tight. Stephen Miles, EJ O'Rourke, and Eric Arnold all over each other. That was a 3-wide fight in 3 and 4, and ultimately Arnold scrubbed up, got tight in 1, and made contact and tried to hold it down, but was unable to. Not a ton of damage on that car, but nonetheless electing to tow it to the pits. The second caution here out tonight. Chad Coleman scored your leader. David Shieldhouse, Tyler Dalton, David Comstock, Bentley Glisser, your top 5. And Kevin, maybe this is the break that Justin Fuller needs. Does he play a little bit of tire strategy here? Can you afford to? Looking at the tire deltas last time by is really interesting. It looks like these tires are, even for some of the fast drivers, have fallen already a 1.5 seconds in just a handful of laps we've been green.
Yeah, I think priority 1 is get the car fixed. If you have any aero damage, I know tire and wheel damage would be something that you'd want to sort out, but aero at this track is supremely important. It's even better than tires at this point for Justin Fuller to get all his damage fixed. He can ride around probably fast enough not to get lapped. We saw him starting to come forward and make a couple passes, so I think his car is reasonably good. Now we'll see whether or not during this pit stop telltale whether he changes tires or not, or whether he has significant damage to fix.
7 cars electing to stay out, and that's going to change some things up. David Shieldhouse, Jose Gonzalez, Stephen Miles, EJ O'Rourke, Alan Wild, Logan Coger, Chad Coleman. He came down, and so that's going to be sporty. 7 cars up front on those older tires. We just talked about how important how much those tires fell off in that short green flag run. Chad Coleman's going to be the first driver off pit road. That's David Comstock, Bentley Glazer rounding out that top 10. Taking a look, and speaking of Justin Fuller, he is still in the box. A long stop for the 51. He's going to lose some time here, but ultimately this very well could help Justin Fuller drive back through the field and hopefully salvage what could be a decent finish here tonight at Homestead.
Yeah, and this signifies to me that he had significant damage. He did not change tires. He just let the crew fix and work on damage. So probably has a couple minutes worth of damage for the crew to take care of. And now he has to hustle to go catch the back of the field. Of course, Justin Fuller comes in here first round of the championship, leading over David Shieldhouse, Cody Harris, Stephen Miles, Mark Jorgensen Jr. Jorgensen Jr., of course, had his problems along with Fuller. And this is where, from an advantage standpoint, Shieldhouse, Harris, Miles, Karlovage, who won at Darlington, and even Wesley Donaldson can try to make a little hay on that championship, as they're going to head to Kansas next week and then Charlotte, Las Vegas to close out round number 1. And you really don't want to get behind in the first race of the championship. And unfortunately for Justin Fuller, he had to start in the back as he's just caught the back of the field as green comes out. He had to slam on the brakes, and now he has to hustle and get the car in gears. They scream to turn 1. It's the 20 of David Shieldhouse carrying the field.
It'll be the interesting fight here back around that 7th place position. It's starting to get sporty already. Here comes Logan Coger. Here comes Chad Coleman around Logan Coger. Big bottleneck behind this group of drivers. Remember, Coleman is the first driver with fresh tires, but really not a ton of place to go here. He's actually going to fall in line behind the 2 car. And then in the 07's right there in the mix as well, as he's going to dive it in. Big dive down. Right to the apron goes Coleman. That is an interesting move. We've seen him do that earlier. He is just trying to get by while the tires are fresh here as he works down the backstretch.
Tell you, that's a interesting move to go down to the apron, and we see other drivers running a lane off the wall, and we talked about the different grooves. When the tires are full grip and you go down there, you can find some traction down there, a la Brad Keselowski, and you can maybe make a little hay, but within a lap or two, you're going to pull up and go run the conventional line, which is usually 1 lane up in the entry, let the car roll up a little bit in the corner, and then turn it down and try and get a straight drive off.
Still side by side back here for this basically 7th on back. A big battle ensuing here. Bentley Gleason, Logan Coger, Anthony Cantoldi, Donaldson Harris, and others. Tyler Dalton is back here as well. Bobby Wetzel, Thomas George. It is the 405 down at turn 1 at New Hampshire. Meanwhile, I know there's a bunch of children over on David Shieldhouse's Twitch stream cheering that driver on out front, 9/10 of a second here. And I think, Kevin, this is really a great example of things working right for David Shieldhouse. A fast driver, has many wins here this season. This summer, it's a notable slump for that 20 car. Just hasn't been able to put runs together. But up front right now, here when it matters, right in the middle of this race, and he has set himself up to be out there for a little while on those older tires.
Yeah, to say it's a slump is an understatement. It's been a miserable summer, and the summer is just about to turn to fall. David Shieldhouse needs to right the blimp and have it head in the right direction. There is Patrick Colby making some daring moves and moving forward there. He's down on the apron just in the same way the 38 was. He's found a little something down there as he moves underneath the 95. And, well, there's battles all over this racetrack. In there for second, Chad Coleman dives down underneath, trying to hold back the 26 of Jose Gonzalez. And again, these drivers all know how important track position at this racetrack is. So for a period of time, if you're up here in this top 5, you're really going to scramble for position as the 13 of David Comstock slots into that 3rd position.
Yeah, that was an aggressive move by the Chad Coleman 1 lap ago off into 1. I don't think he expected Gonzalez to check up as much as he did. Got deep into the bumper there. Coleman on the move. We saw him on the apron. He's the first driver with those newer tires, and he knows he's got to go. David Comstock is pretty much following the 38 through the line here. Gonzalez is going to fall back to 4th. E.J. O'Rourke sitting 5th. Stephen Miles, another driver who elected to come down pit road. He's back here battling through this chaos right along with Bentley. I'm sorry, Stephen Miles did not come down. Bentley Glacier did. And I tell you what, even further back, Cody Harris was side by side. That's Colby battling right there as well. But it really steps up back behind it. Brian Macklin, Koger, Wetzel, Yoakum, and Rivera. This is for 20th right here, Kevin. They are scrapping hard here at New Hampshire.
Yeah, and if you're somebody like Thomas George in that 6, you really do need to move your way forward in the championship. He is down, about the 16th position out of 20. And I'll tell you, a driver who's got a good run going right now as the yellow comes out is the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke holding down the top 5.
Yeah, E.J. was really quick last night, put together a strong run here on turn 1 at Michigan in the ARCA car, but completely different machine, completely different track. And E.J. O'Rourke still running in the top 5 here, up 11 spots on the evening. Not a bad night for the 41. The caution's out for the 3rd time here tonight. David Shieldhouse, Chad Coleman, David Comstock, your top 3. We're going to step aside for just a moment. You're watching Turn 1. Pace car lights are off. That's a signal these drivers are getting ready to get that green flag racing here for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series on turn 1. Glad you're with us. It's Sean Fitz alongside Kevin England and David Schildhouse out front. Chad Coleman, EJ will work your top 3. But the story is going to be about these drivers who just came down pit road. Ron Holyfield, Charles Woods, Kevin DeBrown also visited, but so did Stephen Miles, George Livingston, Jason Karlovash. Oh, by the way, it looks like Justin Fuller finally took his first set of tires tonight. 1 of 4 in the books there on the 51, and it looks like he may have got some of that damage fixed. Kevin, it's going to be interesting here on this restart.
Yeah, everybody hammered down, and now some of those drivers with fresh tires and damage fix can start picking their way forward and try and get that track position as Schildhouse breaks out. He's got a good cover coming out of turn number 2 with the 38 in Chase. Side by side back there for third, and they're hustling back behind him for additional speed going down the back straightaway.
Keep in mind, David Schildhouse has not been on pit road yet, sacrificing the handling on that car for track position, and it's worked out for him. He's led here the last 10 laps, 15 laps or so. Chad Coleman has gotten to the rear, or got to that P2 spot. He came down pit road lap 20. But ultimately has just stopped moving forward. We saw Schildhouse at one point out nearly a full second over over Chad Coleman. But now Coleman trying to hang on as he's going to move that line up a little bit, about a lane and a half in turn 3 and 4, try to find a little bit more speed. Out back though, it's EJ O'Rourke and Wesley Donaldson. Oh, there's a caution on the track. Where is that at? Karlovash may be involved.
Looks like Alan Wild was down in the grass over there in turn 2. It caught a corner of that.
Yeah, and Jason was spun around. That's going to bring another caution out here. Let's take a quick look and find out what happened. Off into turn 3 and 4.
Little bumper car there.
For sure, and you saw the 51 barely squeeze through there as well. Man.
That's Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Kevin. You're not wrong. Either way, another caution out here tonight gives us an opportunity to talk about Sim 500. If you haven't already done so, head on over to sim500.com and take a look at the schedule. A diverse set of seasons coming up. Obviously, this Monday Night Cup Series, that's going to run all the way to mid-November, but only 4 races left in the Sunday Night CERN Series, and I got some private information that says that's going to get really spicy here at the end of or the middle of October. Maybe a super speedway series coming. I don't know. That'll be fun, as well as a classic cup series happening after the first of the year. Tons of racing options for everybody. You can find out more information over at sim500.com, and I'm sure they'd love to have you come join. Kevin, I tell you what, so far through almost 40 laps here, this has not been a disappointment. We're already down a good portion of this race. We're going to go back green flag with about 90 to go. I suspect we could see another longer green flag run here, and I'm a little worried about the 20 car out front. I'm going to be honest with you. Not came down pit road just yet here tonight. Looking decent on those older tires, but what does that mean for the strategy here? If he used it to get up front, and fuel mileage probably is not going to be a factor, but at what point does he elect to come down and get tires?
I mean, we've had 4 cautions, 11 laps running under caution, and working lap 39. That means the tires still have a decent amount of wear left on them, and being out front doesn't hurt. So that was the big question when they came over to turn 4, whether he was going to yank the wheel left and head to pit road. Opted to stay out, and I guess he's pretty comfortable with the way the car is handling. And, you know, this is a racetrack, Sean. It's more of a rhythm racetrack, and how you feel about when the car goes in. If the car will stop, turn, rotate in the center, and drive off, even with a little bit of tire wear, you just float it down in there until it takes its set and you drive, and you can get pretty comfortable. I don't know if you're going to hold off 4 fresh tires with somebody that's got a lot of speed right behind you, but he's got the same players behind him that he's had all the way through and has been able to hold them at bay. So I think he's holding a pretty wheel right now. I should make a quick note that the caution before was the 17 of Kevin Stone got loose out of turn number 2. The car slipped sideways, went down, tagged the inside wall, and was able to drive away with minimal amount of damage. And that's something that concerns me for Shieldhouse, Sean, is when you see a little tire wear, when you start to squeeze that throttle down coming up off the corner, especially down low, the car can just step out at any given point. And for Shieldhouse, he's got to mind his P's and Q's. We're going to see how he can handle this as the pace car turns left and the green flag is out. We're back racing here at New Hampshire.
Shieldhouse with a great start here. Coleman a little bit of a lag there, and that's going to let Shieldhouse get out front. But Chad's going to drive down into the corner so much stronger on corner entry, and this is probably where that right front is going to benefit. And you see him tight all the way down here to turn 3, and this is where I think the aero considerations are coming into play. Coleman working all the way to the right rear of Shieldhouse. He's got to try to stay off the wall. Shieldhouse gives him a little bit of room. That is the tightest battle we've seen, and there you see it. Coleman is going to enter high. Shieldhouse is going to enter low. Shieldhouse is going to dime it off the corner a little bit, get tight. It's a flat shag race down the backstretch, but Chad Coleman gets it straight, heading down to turn 3.
Yeah, Coleman just roared up off the corner out of turn number 2. And again, Shieldhouse with those worn tires, like I said, had to be really careful on how he squeezed the throttle up there, and it was able to yield the 38. Still side-by-side battle back there for third. Have a good run here for the 91 of Wesley Donaldson showing up, putting a little pressure on David Comstock. And every time you get one of these restarts, it gives you the opportunity to draw up alongside someone else here, Sean. On the pass factor, it's a great time to try and get a pass, but unfortunately for Wesley Donaldson, not able to get that done as the 13 of Comstock was able to work around, and here he comes. He's going to work on second. He's down underneath the 20 for the second position.
Not a bad night all the way down to the apron there, trying to straighten it out and get some speed down. Not able to get underneath the 20, at least on quarter exit, but now maybe a little bit of frustration starting to show with that 13. The car weaving back and forth behind the 20, trying to figure out where he could go to execute this pass. As wide as this track is, you heard me mention it just a little while ago as they come across the stripe to take lap 45. It's really difficult at times to make passes here, especially if you are running the same line as the person in front of you. But now Comstock's going to muscle behind around the 20 car. And Kevin, I think at this rate, we are certainly starting to see those old tires on board the 20 and the 41 start to wear. E.J. O'Rourke is starting to be consumed by traffic. He's falling back to 8th.
Yeah, and one thing we haven't talked about is how technical this racetrack is, about hitting your marks, about shifting. These drivers, a lot of them will run third gear coming up out of the corner. About halfway down the straightaway, they're going to be in fourth. And then just as they get to the brake markers, all the way down to 2 and 1, they're going to slam it down into third. They adjust the brake bias so the car hooks left, and they just float the car down. They'll run third all the way out to the start-finish line coming down the straight and down the front straightaway, and you're doing that every lap, shifting and trying to get the car right. And I'll tell you, you got to be really careful at pushing the nose. If you miss your braking point and slide up, you really slide up through the center of the corner and you lose so much time. You have to be absolutely flawless on your entry every time, every corner.
Looks like Chad Coleman now starting to feel the pressure of David Comstock back behind him. Last time by, Comstock was fastest by almost 3/10. That is a pretty impressive run. Now they come back by at 29.96 to Comstock's 29.98. Follow back even, and the caution's out once again on the racetrack. Doug Sigmund looks like he is in a little bit of trouble. Has it spun around coming out of turn 4.
I have to believe that the 20 in the position he was in is going to go for tires at this juncture. As Sigmund just got loose off the bottom like we were talking about on throttle, the car came around, and I don't think he hit anything in the Pro Systems brakes. 04 just looped around.
looped it around, bringing out the caution here, and that just shows you, again, how complex it can be at times to get around here as the pace car gets caught up with the field. And I think you're right, Kevin. I don't suspect the 20 car could stay out much longer. And keep in mind the top 10, top 12 or so here, all last down pit road, lap 20. They do have 4 sets. They've taken a set. This could be the second set for this group. Maybe that's the play that Shieldhouse is thinking about. He's thinking long game. He wants to try to have a set of tires at the very end, but you've got to play that almost perfectly, especially because you do not want to be caught in any type of traffic. As actually, I am wrong. Coleman, Comstock, Donaldson stays out. Meanwhile, Shieldhouse is going to pit with EJ O'Rourke, Nelson Rivera, Logan Koger, Randy Yoakum, and Bobby Wetzel and others coming down. This is going to be now a challenge for those drivers to work through this field. A mix of strategies here underway as we near the halfway point of tonight's race here at New Hampshire.
I really have to wonder how this plays out because the strategy staggering the tire changes, these other drivers are going to run, 10, 15, 20 laps. They're going to have to head in, and someone like Shieldhouse, if he takes care of his stuff, somebody like the 41 car takes care of his stuff, EJ O'Rourke, they could be in the catbird seat. You don't know how this is going to play, and that's one of the crazy things about this racetrack is the way the cautions fall often dictate field and track position, and these drivers, well, you don't know. They might have made a really good call by stopping in there and getting 4 fresh Goodyears.
I tell you what, a driver who was able to take advantage, it took 2 different cautions, but man, is he back on a tear. That's the driver of the 51, Justin Fuller. He started up closer to the front there in the top 5, and was involved in that incident early, had some damage, came down pit road over the last 2 cautions, got it fixed up, finally a new set of tires, and Kevin, he is knocking on the door of a top 10.
Yeah, good recovery, and again, if you were going to have trouble, lap 1 was the perfect time to do it, and for Justin Fuller, we know he's got a fast race car, and I would not be surprised to see him at the end make up all the track position and be one of the top 3 contending for the win by the end of this. He's made a great recovery, cleanly coming through the field, just knocking them down one by one, and now he finds himself right on the cusp of making a top 10 run here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a couple more here after this restart.
Certainly wouldn't either, and by the way, Kevin, as they get ready, coming through turn 3, turn 4 here, I got a question for you. I want you to think about this for just a second. If you're the driver of the 38, do you want a long green flag run here, or do you want to span of cautions? Think about that for just a second as we hit the green flag back out, and Coleman drives off. Comstock, he may have had a little bit of a bumper car there with Wesley, or not, sorry, well, not with Wesley Dawson, but Cody Harris. They got all bunched up. Back free and rolling off of turn 2 as everybody scatters out, again, trying to grab as much as they can. Colby, way out to the right, makes contact, or at least looks like he did with the 95. Harris is going to work that outside line. That's for 4th here. And now that they've at least got mostly settled down, Colby's going to continue to battle Harris. Kevin, I'll go back to that question. If you're the 38 here, keep in mind you've got about 20... well, let's call it, I'm sorry. You've got about 33 laps on those tires. Half of those are a little less green. What do you want to see happen here and potentially balance out this strategy?
Yeah, I don't mind to see a caution. If I can ride around under caution behind the pace car, nobody's trying to pass me. I think that's an advantage. Really, what I have to do is get a good restart if I'm holding down the field, and then just be out front. If a caution comes out, cools my tires down, lets me get reacclimated, and I think that's the easy way to go, is the 95 of Cody Harris slips up into that 4th position, and I see the, well, here's the yellow we were just talking about. Problems for the Carlavage number 60.
Off of turn 2 as well. Not a great night there for the 60 machine. Let's take a quick look at the replay. What happened here? The Jason Carlavage, he exits turn 2. Oh, just got loose. That looks a lot like Mark Jorgensen on lap 1, Kevin. That, man, he tried to save that about 4 times before ultimately looping around.
Yeah, I think what he was trying to do is stay off of the 2 car to the outside. He pulled the car left right at the time that you're picking up the throttle and the rear stepped out on him. It caught and then it did that little snap and wag, and fortunately for him, he just locked it down and got it stopped over there on the hash marks, and nobody hit him, so Karlovac will be able to go. But it has been a little extracurricular activity here tonight for our Darlington winner.
Absolutely, and under the 6th caution here so far, it looks like we're going to have a couple takers down pit road. Bentley Glazer, Stephen Miles. Miles is going to come back out on track, so it looks like Glazer only driver there in the top 10 to come down. He's going to lose a bunch of spots. It looks like Robert Ferry III is going to come down. Jorgensen, Montesi, all joining him as well. We're going to take this moment to step aside. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, Cody Harris, your top 3. You're watching Turn 1. A 6th caution coming to the conclusion here. Pace car lights are off. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, Patrick Colby, Cody Harris, Brian Macklin, your top 5. And I tell you what, we've seen some spiciness on track, but what we've not seen is a longer green flag run, and we'll see these comers and goers start to materialize. Different strategies throughout the entire field. Really a wild mix of group of individuals as the pace car heads down pit road. We'll see how this is all going to play out. They've got enough fuel, but they have enough tire. Green flag back out. Coleman with another great start, and Harris, he's going to take a hard look down to the inside here of David Comstock into 1, but Comstock's going to have that outside line, and Kevin, it looks like he is going to get free and clear, at least down the backstretch, but Cody Harris is, we've got cars slow out of turn 2. I'm not sure what that was about. A couple drivers just off the pace on exit of 2. That was a little weird. Either way, back out front, Harris still battling with Comstock.
Yeah, Harris finally yields and tucks in behind the number 13. Really, if you can't make the pass, you're better off to kind of step back in line and run your line so you don't abuse the tires. The 13 loose up off the corner. Here comes the 95 to peek underneath. He's to the number on the entry to turn 3. Draws even, and he's going to see if he can maybe do a slide job, but not going to be able to do it. Here comes Harris off the bottom out of turn 4. He's got a nose ahead this time. He really needs to drive it in deep into turn number 1 and see if he can clear the 13 as the yellow comes out. I believe he had the advantage at the line, so 95 goes to second.
Kevin Stone spun around on the front stretch there. Going to bring that caution out. This New Hampshire racetrack proving to be a little difficult for these drivers. The 17 right in the middle there. Oh, he had a little bit of help, Kevin. It looks like the 60 of Karlovac and the 17 made contact, and that's going to bring out the 7th caution of the evening.
Yeah, these two have had "please hit me" taped to the back bumper of the cars as they've had a challenge. You know, one of the things we were talking about during that little break there is advantage 51. We asked about whether the 38 wanted to see all these cautions and whether that was useful for him. Really, the one who's been useful is the 51. Every time the 51 gets a restart, he's been able to pull a position or two. He was back at 11th, just a few restarts. Now he sits in that 6th position, and he's trying to hunt down the 30th, Brian Mecklin.
Keep in mind that Fuller 51 car, he was all the way back at 30th. I would say 25 laps ago. He has driven his way forward really well. And again, we talked about earlier in the broadcast how Justin Fuller came in here with a ton of confidence, but that lap 1 incident setting him back a bit. And we'll see what he could do to kind of muster up a strong finish here. So far, not looking too bad. Brian Macklin's going to hit pit road. So is Thomas George. Joe Hudson's also down. And it looks like Mike Montesi's going to come back. He, I believe, has been trying to fix some damage. Yeah, you see it on the right front of that Chevy Camaro. Needs to get that bumper and that hood cover back in line there. All going to hit pit road to the attention of their crew. Chad Coleman, though, elects to stay out. And, Kevin, we were talking about this what feels like 2-3 restarts ago. What do you do if you're Chad Coleman? Do you want to see the cautions? Do you want to come down? You want a long green flag run? What does it make sense of? And I tell you what, looking at Chad Coleman, he seems to be, that clean air seems to be really important here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he picked up the lead there on lap 43, and we've had 3 different cautions during this time period. He's 20 laps past that, taking the lead and able to hold everybody at bay. And really what helps him is he's able to jump out and get a good car length or two. And it takes these guys a lap or two to run him back down. And if he could just pick and choose his line in clean air, he's able to hold them all back. As we thought the 95 was ahead of the 13, but Scoring Loop puts the 13 on the outside of Chad Coleman for the restart. And look at Patrick Colby, not in the championship race, but every once in a while, you find Patrick Colby finding he's in the championship race. He and David Comstock both in there about 13th, 14th in points, but Colby somehow finds these tracks that fits his driving style, and he's in the hunt all night long.
I was just about to say, Colby, he finds his grooves, man, and just settles in and is really consistent, and right now he finds himself there just inside the top 4. Cody Harris has having a very quiet but successful night here. He got involved in that turn 1 incident as well, or lap 1, but now back up to 4th. But it's Justin Fuller right back in the mirror on the bumper. The green flag back out. Chad Coleman is getting some wonderful starts here. A master at the restart game. Chad Coleman out front here as they head off down into turn 1.
And I have to say, and I'm trying not to jinx the world here, that pretty good job for these guys on the restarts. You tend to see a lot of checkups and a lot of difficulty. And additionally, and we were talking about this at one point, you and I privately, is that drivers have different braking points. How hard they drive in, how quickly they drive in. Some drive deep into the corner, let the car rotate, and then try to pick up the throttle. Others go in slowly, pick it up quickly, and try and race up from the center of the corner off. And those different braking points can be a challenge if you're tight into somebody coming in, especially after all these restarts. Coleman still out front, holding everybody at bay, but I'll tell you, he's got a mirror full of a bunch of drivers that are going to start to come. He's still got the 13 and the 95 holding bay, but look back there in 4th. It's Justin Fuller on the charge.
It is. He has got by Patrick Colby now and starting to look ahead at the 95. Meanwhile, I was back here looking at, this is David Schildhouse. Him, Tyler Dalton, I think that was O'Rourke, were 3 wide at one point coming down to 2. And what a masterclass of talent there. They're holding it together. Schildhouse dipping those left sides down on that apron, trying to find a little bit of grip and drive off O'Rourke. Really just looking to follow the 20 through the chaos here. Meanwhile, Kevin DeBrown's back up into the top 10, sitting 9. Steven Miles, he's got DeBrown right there on that left rear, just hanging out. Another driver having a decent night here, Kevin. We've not talked about too much. We've mentioned his name. That's Anthony Calico. Oh, we got cars going around. And that was EJ O'Rourke. Big damage on the nose of the 41, and that was right off of turn 2, Kevin. It's continuing to claim victims. It's going to bring the caution out once again.
Yeah, that one looked a little peculiar. We were talking about checkups, and I'm just not sure what Oh yeah, I could see the 20 tried to stay off the 26, and EJ just pile drives an
Ooh.
inside wall over there. The rear tire's up off the ground, and the unit's Toyota is a couple inches shorter over there off of turn 2.
That was really odd there with Shieldhouse. He must have got on the binders pretty hard there. O'Rourke really had nowhere to go. He wasn't going to stop that car in enough time, and that was Shieldhouse trying not to stay off of Jose Gonzalez, who we have seen have maybe a little bit of a different strategy at driving styles and lanes here, because we saw Chad Coleman get into him about 25, 30 laps ago as well. So a very interesting turn of events, another caution out. And Chad Coleman reaping the benefits here, as I think Cody Harris, this is going to bring a big bunch of cars down here. Some diving back on the track, but Kevin, I think this is going to be the difference maker in what tires look like. Cody Harris, Justin Fuller, Donaldson, Calatoni, Shieldhouse, Dalton, Colby, Wild, and others all hitting pit road. And this is, you kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're the 38, if you come down, everybody else stays out, and vice versa. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, Stephen Miles, and others, they're about to see how this all shakes out with those newer tires going to be floating around the 15th place position.
You have to wonder if some of these drivers are thinking, if this thing goes green to the finish, I'm going to have fresh tires from here on out, or I could use these tires and still maintain track position at the end of the race. And it could be a track position play as this again shuffles the deck. Is that's one of the great things about the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, is all these alternative strategies keep changing the complexion of the field, and the racing is just outstanding out in the back when the fresh tires are chasing down cars that have been out there for quite some time.
Yeah, this is going to certainly shake some things loose. We're going to have, keep in mind, something to think about here. Chad Coleman, David Comstock, who else? Stephen Miles. Basically a 60-40 split in the top 10 of drivers that came down lap 20, lap 32, and there's some lap 55 in here too. So a very mix of strategy, even out front in the top 10. Meanwhile, you're going to have drivers back here who just came down pit road, and that is Cody Harris is going to lead that charge. He is sitting 18th. So a long climb forward here. Meanwhile, Chad Coleman is continuing to like to see these cautions come to fruition, cool those Goodyears down, and get ready to go back green flag racing.
Yeah, looking at Justin Fuller, he gave up track position to go back to 19th and bolt on 4 fresh Goodyears. And hopefully he'll be able to stay out of the mix. He and Cody Harris, the first cars on fresh tires, back there about row number, 10? 11 as we go back to green. And how about Chad Coleman? This has played out very well for him. He's going to really cringe when he has to go to pit road.
He is absolutely. Stephen Miles found a big bump down there at the bottom of 1 and 2. I saw that car. I don't think it got airborne, but boy, it looked like it got close. He's taking the apron, trying to get as much as he can. And it looks like the Browns are going to be right there on his bumper, though. And it doesn't really look like much of these drivers are gaining too much advantage taking the car down to the apron, as now Miles going to continue to battle to Brown. He elects to keep it back at least above that white line. Coleman out front. He's starting to drive away here, 0.2, and starting to grow over Comstock. Meanwhile, we take a look back. Cody Harris, we were talking about that driver. He came down and got tires. We got a car in the wall. That's Bobby Wetzel. We're going to keep it under green. But Cody Harris all the way up to 13th after just a few short laps.
There was one car out in the back of the field that got sideways off of turn 2. We saw a large plume of smoke, but somehow gathered up, and we stayed green. And, look at this, the charge from the 93 involved in that lap 1 incident. He pitted lap 38, the 2 cars in front of him, lap 20. So from that perspective, from a fresh tire standpoint, 93 in the catbird seat seems to have a little more speed, just needs to be patient and pick him up and knock him down, and the 93 will be in command of this race.
Past halfway here tonight for the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series on Turn 1. I'm Sean Fitz, alongside Kevin England, bringing you all the laps here at New Hampshire for the Sim 500 Cup Series. And it's been an eventful one here so far, but It is time to turn it up if you want to get forward and get on that track position and potentially be up there when it matters most. You got to start going now in order to be ready here at the very end. Speaking of going, Kevin, Mark Jorgensen Jr. sitting in 8th right now. He was involved. He basically brought out that first caution of the night and looking pretty snazzy here. He's got that car moving and grooving up front.
Yeah, I mean, this top 10 is a complete change from what we've seen as Joey Jattina running 5th, having an outstanding run. Robert Friery was involved in that first incident along with the 88. The two of them contesting for 7th and 8th. How about this top 10 right now for Randy Yoakum in the 8, and Bentley Glazier just doing Bentley Glazier things, running around inside the top 10, just kind of having a quiet night, staying out of trouble. As I'm starting to see the tires come. Cody Harris to 11th, Patrick Colby to 12th, Justin Fuller to 13th, David Schildhouse to 14th, and the 4 of them are just on a parade trying to come through the field.
Everybody's going to try to follow in line here behind the 95. The holes he's opening up, Patrick Colby, Justin Fuller, Schildhouse, and others want to follow right through. Let the 95 do the work. You just maintain that short gap behind him as Glazier now is under attack. Looks like that right rear may have made a little bit of contact with the wall. That car jotted around just a little bit. Meanwhile, up front, Kevin DeBrown, David Comstock side by side. I think I saw Miles nearly in the grass there through 3 and 4 and just tried to find everything he possibly can. But Coleman just continued to tick laps off here. And let's talk about lap times just a little bit. A 30.02 last time by for Chad Coleman. In traffic, Cody Harris ran a 30.05. That just shows you the difference tires make and what they can do. They're good for a real short amount of time, and that's why you see some of these drivers turning up the aggression a little bit as we got 2 and 3 wide action back here. That's Justin Fuller in the 8 car as well. That's Randy Yoakum. He's going to lose that spot. Patrick Colby on one side, David Schildhouse on the other. They were 3 wide getting into 1.
Yeah, one of the things I see is fresh tires able to hold the car down and carve the bottom of the racetrack, get good drive up, and they're taking advantage of that as the 95 goes down to the blue line. Underneath the 88, they're 3 wide back there trying to get to Joey Jattina. They've got the 2 of Robert Friery on the outside, and these guys, like you said, they're hustling through with those fresh tires. And boy, I'll tell you, this is just sit on the edge of your seat action through the corner. You know these drivers are hanging it out as they come up off the corner, tight to the car to the right, using the draft, and that 88 looks really stout right now.
It certainly does. Meanwhile, though, David Schildhouse takes a deep 3 wide down into 3 and 4 underneath the 95 of Cody Harris. They get it sorted back out. And I tell you what, back behind the 95, that's the 88 there. And then Joey Jattina, it's basically chaos in the mirror of Joey Jattina right now. He's last down pit road, lap number 20, Kevin. So that is, oh goodness, 60 laps. Meanwhile, Schildhouse takes him 3 wide down the backstretch.
Yeah, he's just been a man on a mission the last couple laps. He's making that bottom and 3 and 4 work, and he has just taken these guys to the shed as he drives around them. He was out behind all 4 of those cars running the same tire strategy and just flat out drove around them. And now he sits comfortably in 6. He's going to chase down the 26 of Jose Gonzalez, and I'll tell you, he has turned up the wick. That number 20 Splash and Go Chevrolet is on a run.
Big incident here, the 95, and I believe that's Joey Jattina to 14 involved. That's going to bring the caution out. Bentley Glacier also sitting sideways on the track. And that's going to bring the caution out here once again. Kevin, that is an unfortunate, that's a 36 rather, Bentley Glacier. That's an unfortunate turn of events here for Cody Harris. This all looked like it was starting to materialize just off of 2.
14 just nosed in, and I'm not sure if there was a little lag there that happened, but he got around, and that set that chain of events, and quite a bit of damage to the nose of the 14 car. They'll be taking that to pit road for some hammer action, and now I cannot imagine that the 38 is going to stay out here. He has to know in the field behind him are cars with fresh tires. They're going to have him for lunch if he doesn't go in and change tires.
Yeah, we saw David Schildhouse rather start making some moves ahead, but it looks like everybody's coming. Chad Coleman may have played this perfectly. Meanwhile, Justin Fuller ducks out, Patrick Colby as well, Wesley Donaldson, Thomas George, but outside of that, everybody comes, including the 20 of David Schildhouse. Kevin, I think that was a little too early to be sitting out there on older tires. They came down pit road, what was that, lap 61 or 68 or so? They had to make a decision there, and ultimately, Fuller electing to stay out, Colby electing to stay out, but man, the rest of the field is just going to be on a tear here.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm looking at 47 to go. I think I could make the rest of the race on this set of tires. And for these drivers who just pitted, I think it's the last time you're going to see them go to pit road unless you have one of those wholesale, everybody goes to the end to use their final set. I'm curious how this is going to play out for the 51. Is he holding a set for later, Sean, or is this it? He's just going to hold that track position and do what Chad Coleman did, which is lead to the end of this thing, is his game plan.
I think Justin Fuller has to decide, or he has to figure out. I mean, we've obviously had a rash of cautions here. This is the 9th one here tonight. Can they pull off a longer green flag run? If so, Fuller's in the perfect place. However, if they, if they continue to see a long green flag run, Fuller's not in a great spot because those drivers are just going to catch up with him. It looks like Stephen Miles led the charge off pit road. He's going to restart 11th. Him, Schildhouse, Coleman, and others are going to charge through the field here. But if they see that rash of cautions, he's got enough cushion and he's got enough tire. Keep in mind, he was down pit road lap 68, so not long ago. But what it's going to matter here is if this turns into a longer green flag run, the 51 may be in trouble here tonight as he leads late in the game. Started in the top 5, had a bit of an incident, raced his way forward after getting some damage straightened up. We're about to find out what these tires could do, Kevin.
Yeah, and I would keep an eye on some of these guys in the back. We saw how fast they were able to carve up there. If in the next 2 or 3 laps, as we see that checkup come down across the start-finish line mid-pack, we saw cars making connection with bumpers, but everybody carries through as the 96 squirts way to the high side, and other guys are down there in the grass out of turn 2.
They were 5 wide at one point there. That, I don't know if I've ever seen that happen before at New Hampshire, but nonetheless, they made it work. Miles all the way down to the grass. Schildhouse digging underneath the 17, the 84 here. Chad Coleman also feeling the pinch from the 23. It is a madhouse towards the rear of the field here.
Yeah, we have to remember at one point during the season, the 20 put a bumper to someone to win a race, and he's got the fastest car, but what he really needs to do is get the track position. And for David Schildhouse, we talked about it earlier, it's been a difficult summer. Really what he needs to do is finish this race, but he realizes the car he's chasing is leading it, so I think it's like dog chasing a rabbit. He's going to run hard all the way to the finish. He doesn't want any doubt that he could take the victory here tonight in New Hampshire.
Yeah, certainly doesn't. You've got to be smart here and make it make sense, as they say. But David Schildhouse all the way back up here as they're 3 wide back behind him. Schildhouse all the way back up to 7th after coming down pit road here. That is not a good sign for Justin Fuller. Patrick Colby, Wesley Donaldson, a pretty big gap separate those 2 drivers. Brian Macklin, Thomas George has got a nice top 5 here, but he's been out there even longer than Fuller. Lap 61, his last time down pit road. And Schildhouse is on the bumper as they look down into 1 and 2. He's going to have the drive off here as Miles carving it up back behind him. That's with Miles to Brown and Wild in the top 10. And I tell you what, the action is heating up as Schildhouse gets around Thomas George.
Yeah, and got to give a nod to Thomas George, currently sitting in that 6th position. Good recovery for him. He had some troubles earlier in the race. On the opposite side of the tire strategy right now, but hanging in there in that top 10 is Schildhouse. Now works underneath the 30 of Brian Macklin. Got a little loose up off the corner, but really sails it into turn 3 as we got a battle for second. Colby underneath the 91 of Donaldson, they're side by side out of turn 4.
Yeah, equal tires at least the last time down pit road. Fuller really likes to see this in his mirror. It's going to slow those drivers up just a little bit, but wow, the 20 car just charging into the picture here, and that's Schildhouse all the way back up to 4th. I don't think we've heard the last of the 20 car being up front, and the 51, he has got to be full focused right now. He's going to come across the stripe here and see what, 39 to go, 38 to go. He is going to be in trouble without a caution here relatively soon. David Schildhouse works around Wesley Donaldson to take up that 3rd place spot. Kevin Fuller's out front 1.7 seconds, but Schildhouse, even in this traffic, is running equal or faster lap times. I suspect that 51 car is second guessing now that decision to not take those tires.
Yeah, now Schildhouse works his way around 2nd, and the caution flag drops, so that's going to erase that massive advantage that Justin Fuller has, as the 2 sits over there in between 3 and 4. We're working caution number 10 here on the racetrack as the pace car picks up your leader over in turn 2.
The 2 heading off into turn 3 and 4. It looks like everybody was checking up in front of him, but he just spun it up. I think he had to get on the binders a little harder than he expected to, right in the middle of the corner. And that was an interesting. Let's take another quick look at that. There was another car there in front of him, and I'm not sure who that was. That's Chad Coleman. There was somebody else smoking right there. Oh, yep. And then it looks like the 2 just trying to stay out of the 6, just loops it around. Is going to bring out the 10th caution of the night.
Yeah, that's a little bit of that action that we were talking about, how drivers drive into the corner. Some go a little deeper, some check up earlier, and now we're going to see wholesale pit stops, and we see all those cars that were saving a set of tires in there. The 6 of George is in on pit road, the 30 of Macklin on pit road, and this again is going to shuffle the deck. Here comes Tyler Dalton in for service. Tyler, known to take 2 tires. I think at this juncture he's going to want 4, and so does Cody Harris.
We're going to step aside here, one more break before we start to wrap this up. David Schildhouse, Stephen Miles, Kevin DeBrown, your top 3, and it's been a heck of a show. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Turn 1. Another round of pit strategy calls in the books here. David Schildhouse, Stephen Miles, your front row. Kevin DeBrown, Mark Jorgensen, Chad Coleman, Alan Wild, Logan Koga, Randy Yoakum, Jose Gonzalez round out the top 10 as we get ready to go back green flag racing. And I tell you what, even with the cautions here tonight, this race has flown by, and I'm really excited to see what this finish could hold. It could go one of 2 ways. It could get really sporty and well, as Kevin likes to call them, extracurriculars, or they could go green. Speaking of, green flag back out. Schildhouse on the start, but wow, what a charge by DeBrown underneath Stephen Miles.
DeBrown screams out of turn number 2, really trying to clear Miles. Not able to do it yet. Miles hanging tough to the outside. They're side by side out behind him watching that action as Schildhouse streaks away. DeBrown misses the entry to turn number 3. Now gets the car turned down. Gets a good run up off. He's got a fender, but he's still not clear. They're side by side for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Pretty wild back here as well as Justin Fuller. He's already worked himself up to 11th, looking underneath Nelson Rivera. These cars are just able to dig off the bottom so hard with new tires. Oh, Fuller nearly making contact with Wild. Just, I think he expected to fall in the line there off of 2, and certainly that did not come to fruition. Meanwhile, looking a little further forward, Koger and Coleman, they're sitting 6th and 5th. Mark Jorgensen, it's a three-way battle. Here comes Chad Coleman down to the apron. 3 wide as they work through turn 2. It is going to be a drag race down the backstretch. Coleman's got to hold it down, able to keep firm control of that car, and he's going to fall in line behind the Brown.
I love when they go down there. They could probably reach their hand out the left side window and grab a hot dog as they go by, as Coleman was down there and literally on the apron at the edge of the grass. He's going to come down and see if he gets good to repeat that again. He is. I love that line. When you first start, you have all the grip. You could be down there, but I think that's only a lap or two, and he was able to make a little bit of an advantage. He got around the 13, but not able to get around the 88 and the 93. Now, you and I were talking about the 20, the Jackrabbit run that he made through. Could have used up his tires. However, he's got track position, but out behind him, the 88 and the 93 on the same pit strategy, and I have to wonder if they have a little more in the tank as far as being competitive as the laps tick off here.
You know, that's really a good call. Oh, big wiggle. We got a wreck.
Oh, no.
Logan Koger sideways across the racetrack. Everybody's having to take evasive maneuvers. That was unfortunate. Who was that started with there?
I did not have it on my bingo card to have this many cautions at this racetrack. I really thought these drivers would find some really long green flag run, but for Logan Koger, holy cow.
That was Chad Coleman. What happened to Coleman there?
He must have got tagged somewhere along the line.
It had to have. That car looked... No. He was just loose off the corner. There you have it. Tried to catch it. Big wiggle to the right. Wow. Kevin, I think that is a perfect example of having the grip when you have it, but maybe the 38, either maybe a little bit less grip due to the dirty tire running on that apron, or has burnt up that right front pretty extensively. That car basically just made a hard hook to the right.
Yeah, when you put that much pressure on the right side tires for a couple laps, you can heat up that right rear, and then coming up off the corner, he just went for a lazy slide, and eventually it hooked back. And, you know, you're Logan Koger going down the back straightaway. You're about halfway through, and next thing you know, you get hooked, quarter paneled, and you're sliding sideways in the grass going, what the heck was that for the 5?
Yeah, absolutely. Logan Koger down pit road, and that was my thoughts exactly, Kevin. He's minding his business. He thought he got through the hardest part of the racetrack. All of a sudden, bam, the 38 comes and wipes him out on the left rear. Either way, those drivers are down pit road at the attention of their crew. David Schildhouse is going to stay out. Stephen Miles, Jorgensen Jr., DeBrown, Comstock, your top 5. But Kevin, we talked about this flipping strategy and what this is going to look like. Well, it looks like the 51 has found himself back in that 6th place position, and we know those newer tires are going to really shine here on this restart.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost time to start cueing the Jaws music, but getting up there and getting past is a lot different than, you know, having fresh tires and thinking you're Superman. I think if there's a couple cautions and he's able to do what he did all race long, which is pick his way forward a car or two at a time, that 20 car is going to wonder if he can have the muster to hold him off. As we know, you said it earlier, the statistics for that 51 mean you should not bet against him here at this racetrack.
Yeah, numbers don't lie, and finishes certainly don't either. Justin Fuller, when we saw the 20 really just hit that slump in the summer and have a rough go of it, the 51 stepped up, and he will tell you he hates this car. He's not a fan of this this Cup machine, this next-gen car. It just he doesn't like it at all, but that doesn't mean he's not good at driving it at a multitude of different tracks, and he was able to take advantage of that and able to just recover. It has been a wild night for the 51. We'll see if he can cap it off here with a strong finish. Meanwhile, it's Schildhouse, Miles, Jorgensen, and DeBrown, your top 4. They're wrapping up caution number 11. And guess what? 27 laps to go here. And they see the green flag as they head off into one.
Side by side again for second. We'll see whether or not the 88 can get the drive up off the corner. Slips a little bit. That's going to allow Miles to slot into that second position. He gives chase to Schildhaus, about a car length off his back bumper as he rolls through the center. Good drive off on the bottom as Schildhaus's car is a little bit sideways. Miles is able to match the pace, and, well, yeah, here comes the caution, and it's the 17 again.
It is. It's Kevin Stone involved, and he's going to be down pit road. This looks like this happened in the middle of 3 and 4 for the 17 of Stone. Let's take a look. Looks pretty stable. Oh, nope, it does not. That car just did not find the grip, and unfortunately, the issues are going to compound there for the 95. He finds himself back there after that big incident a couple cautions ago, and he's gonna find Kevin Stone sideways across the racetrack there and have some additional damage to take care of. Schildhaus leads. Miles, Jorgensen, DeBrown, Comstock. Justin Fuller did not catch up as many positions I would have thought he would have on that restart. Kevin, maybe those tires, maybe he's just taking it a little easy here, knowing he still has about he's gonna go back green flag racing with what, 23 to go or so. Still a good bit of time.
Yeah, he's got time to make this happen. I mean, when the caution came out, he was side by side with the 13, and just by a whisker, the 13 held the position, or he'd be sitting in that 5th position. One of the things we've not talked about, I'm curious as to what these drivers would say if they could tell us inside or outside on these restarts. I'm not sure what lane choice would be the better advantage screaming down into turn 1. It seems to me that the drivers who've been running side by side through turns 1 and 2, the outside lane seems to have prevailed so far. But you know, when you look at where Fuller restarts, if he restarts at 6, maybe he wanted to be there. I don't know. I'm just curious as to what these drivers have in their head when they think about the restarts, inside or outside lane.
Yeah, that's a great question, Kevin. I think we saw we saw Chad Coleman earlier. I think he was mostly on the outside and just getting this monster restarts. It kind of, once he gets clear of that inside car, able to just angle it off there into turn 1. Actually, no, I take that back. I'm pretty sure he started on the inside, so maybe not as much of a factor here as we see Schildhaus looking to take the bottom here, and maybe just looking for that direct line to what ends up being corner entry off into 1. And he's going to start thinking about, again, some of these drivers back behind him on the fresh tires. The top 5 drivers all pit lap 83. Everybody else in the top 10, lap 93, or most of the drivers remaining in the top 10 are on lap 93 tires. So 10 lap better tires. And we saw Schildhaus start to slide around under that green flag conditions. Does he have enough grip here to make it last? Thankfully, these cautions are really short, a short track, and they're getting ready to go back green flag racing. The pace car down pit road. Schildhaus, Miles, Jorgensen coming down the front stretch, getting ready to see the green.
Not a good start for Colby as he slipped the tires a little bit. Macklin got into him, but everybody able to drive out of it. Schildhaus jumps away, and again, they're side by side for that second position out of turn number 2. This time it looks like the 88 has a good run. They're neck and neck going down the back straightaway, and we're going to have caution one more time as looks like the 9 sitting over there in turn 2.
Yeah, not a great night here for Bobby Wetzel. He gets rolling here free and clear. I don't even know what that was. Just the car just broke loose, and it didn't even, Kevin, that didn't even start with the rear. It started with the front. It just slid out from underneath him. Really interesting spin there for the 9 car.
Yeah, I think that actually started with the car out in front of him. The 25 of Ron Hollifield was underneath Logan Koger, had to get on the binders. And when the 9 saw the 25 on it, he stepped on the brakes right at the time the car was rotating. And as the weight transferred to the right side, it just made the 9 snap around.
Caution out here for the 13th time at New Hampshire. It has been an eventful one, but the laps are starting to wind down. We're going to step aside one more time. David Schildhouse, Stephen Miles, Mark Jorgensen, your top three. You're watching Turn 1. Kevin, we were talking over the break, but it's a great conversation to have here live. The driver of the 51, he moved up to 5th. Comstock and others back there that have pit, they're in a position where they've got these newer tires, but I don't know if they have enough time, especially once the restart gets sorted out and everybody gets single file, to get up there and run for the lead here, especially if we see any more cautions tonight.
Yeah, this top four has 10-lap older tires, but thus far the track position has kept them at bay, and they've been taking advantage of that as full court press down into turn 1. Schildhouse did not get away that time. He is running up off the corner. I think he's going to squirt out and have the lead going to the back straightaway. Miles in second. The 88 is in third. Now we have a battle for that 4th position, and able to use, well, 8 tires are better than 4 apparently. 51 goes in, pushes the 93 up, and then drives out of turn 4 and is going to have that position almost. They're still side by side going down into turn 1, but Justin Fuller should have 4th by the time they come out of turn number 2.
Yeah, DeBrown hanging on that left rear of the 51 ever so slightly, not allowing him to get clear. That's going to actually muscle a drag race down the backstretch. Meanwhile, this is exactly what we were talking about, how Fuller, he's got to get near around this traffic to be able to have an opportunity. He can't even get away from DeBrown at the moment, let alone get up there and contend with Mark Jorgensen and Stephen Miles, who were side by side for second. Now, Fuller's going to get in the position. We're going to see another caution on the racetrack. This time, it's Tyler Dalton bringing out the caution here. Let's take a quick look at what happened to the 19th, and then we'll recap the front. And looks like a little 3 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide action. Oh, and then Fuller made a little bit of contact with the 23 there coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, just a bit of a squeeze play as the 23 and the 19 ran out of real estate out of turn 4. Tyler Dalton got the worst of it as he spun right there in the restart zone, and he's able to grab a gear and come back through, but we're under caution number 14. And we talked about it. It's harder and harder every restart, but Justin Fuller keeps getting a car every restart. Now he sits outside row number 2, 4th position for Justin Fuller. I think it's going to be harder and harder for him to get these cars as we go through, and he's running out of laps with these cautions.
Yeah, he's going to start just the inside of row 2. And we saw David Schildhouse he's going to start the outside of row 2. David Schildhouse did not get the restart he needed, and we saw Stephen Miles there pretty much be in contention with him side by side all the way through 3. I don't know. This is going to be a really interesting look as to what the 51 could get done here. If it's anybody that could get it done, though, it is Justin Fuller. He has had an up and down night here tonight. He started just there in that 6th place spot, but that 5th place spot, but that's not the story. The story is getting wrecked or getting in an incident, lap 1, coming down pit road, fixing some damage, but did not have a ton of time. Getting that fixed, have another caution come out after running in the mid-20s, getting that fixed, running in the mid-20s again, another caution, now getting tires. He drove all the way to the front, led some laps, fell back to the 20th or so position, and then back forward to 4th. So I don't know if there's many drivers on track that has passed more cars than the 51, but Kevin, as you know, it doesn't matter how many cars you pass during the race. It's the cars that are behind you at when you see that checker flag wave.
Yeah, and for Fuller, I think he would have preferred to change those tires and have it run green and use the advantage to just run everybody down. I don't know. We were talking about how these restarts, he's getting a car a lap, it seems like. That maybe is good, because if it went green, they would have run out and he would have had to run down bigger spaces. Right now, every car he's challenging, he's sitting on the back bumper. For him, at least he's looking at a top 5 recovery after the lap 1 incident. And, well, we'll see. As the 38 goes around, he is going to be your lucky dog. 14 to go on the restart here as they come down the back straightaway. And every driver here is going to give it all they got. Sean, I don't think there's any holding back. It is full court press all the way to the finish. Take everything you can get from here on out.
Yeah, and I think we saw the 51 back to that really quick. He did take advantage of somebody else's good years on top of his here in 3 and 4. Yeah. I would not be surprised to see that move again here. But he's going to restart on the outside. We'll see how this restart all shakes out as Schildhouse, Miles, Jorgensen, Fuller, your top 4. Pace cars down pit road. Green flag back out. They're going to come across the stripe. That's 13 to go. Schildhouse back with a solid start here, but that's not going to be good news for the 51.
Schildhouse leads him out of turn number 2 to the back straightaway. Sideways goes the 24. The 88 noses into the corner. This is going to be big. Multiple cars making huge contact. Ooh, huge hit late for the 5 of Logan Koger as, wow, a second time the 88 goes into the wall.
I think he may have had a little bit of help here from, let's take a look here. I think he may have had, oh, that's not going to be a good look for us. Let's go back here. I think we're going to see the 24 make contact. Oh, and the 51 also got involved here. Let's try one more time here with the 88. Oh, yep, the 24. Steven Miles had a big wiggle hook to the left. That caught Jorgensen, and then that just set the rest of the field ablaze here. Big contact with the 5. Kevin, that is not what these drivers wanted to see. Mark Jorgensen, he had a nice recovery, and that's going to pretty much end his competitive night. And I don't think Justin Fuller wanted to see that either. He's back at 5th, but he's got some significant left front damage on the side of that 51. Uh-oh. Did we lose Kevin? Kevin, you're muted, buddy.
Oh, there we go. I think this is going to be one of those situations where the 51 has no choice but to stay out here and slog for the rest of this. What a shame for the 88. Second time tonight where he was running in, and the first one, I think he lost the handle, but tonight nothing doing for him from a point championship standpoint. He's trying to track these top 2 down, and that is not what the doctor ordered for Mark Jorgensen Jr., who has picked up a couple wins and was, I think, still in the hunt tonight. And there he is, sitting on pit road one more time, trying to fix the damage.
Everybody here in this top 3 on the same strategy, but Miles is going to have some damage. He's the one that kicked off that incident. So is Fuller. And Kevin, I think this benefits that driver we've talked about a couple times. That's Patrick Colby. He started 31st. He's up to 4th. And guess what? He's the only driver there in that top 4 group with those lap 93 tires. Does he have enough to get up there and run down Schildhouse? More importantly, though, does he have enough laps to get it done? That, I think, is the bigger question.
You know, we assumed that Schildhouse got all the damage fixed, but in some of these shots, you can see the spoiler or the splitter on the car is pushed in on the front nose. I have to wonder if he's running for a little bit of damage there. Is that front end, if you take a close look at it, looks a little shoved in. I think it's a little worse for the wear here. And for him, that means what he really needs to do is stay out front and hold that track position.
Yeah, that's more than just a little bit. That almost looks like the 20 car may have made contact with something maybe coming through the field. Green flag back out here, and we're racing 9 to go. That'll be interesting to see if that holds back the 20 miles. Going to dive down to the inside. He does not look like, at least middle of the corner, that damage is... Oh, there it is. It didn't look like that damage was too much, but it certainly reared its head there coming off the corner. Colby able to take that third spot away. Now Comstock's going to challenge to the outside, overdriving the corner entry a little bit. It's going to get chaotic back here. We got cars sideways. They got him saved.
Yeah, and I was noticing Justin Fuller, his car did not turn on entry to the corner. The car didn't have the speed down the straightaway, and really he's just going to have to soldier on and get whatever he can as the 26 of Jose Gonzalez draws alongside. And right now, Schildhouse sitting in the catbird seat, but he's got a hungry driver and Kevin DeBrown right behind him. You know, Kevin wants to get the win, and he is there. He's got enough speed right now. The question is, can he draw alongside here in the closing laps and get himself the victory at New Hampshire?
For Kevin DeBrown, this is a really, really good, consistent run as Colby's going to start to poke underneath him just a little bit off of 2. Ooh, those two get really tight. Kevin, I think it's suffice to say, you're not going to push the 20 to make a mistake. What you're going to do is push the 20 to have to drive the car harder, and ultimately, you're going to need some green flag laps to make that happen as Colby now driving underneath DeBrown. What a power move there out of the 28. Patrick Colby up to that P2 spot. Remember, they're going to do a little bit of reverse action here. DeBrown going to look underneath him. Not a slide job, but a crossover move there out of DeBrown. Oh, he's going to turn Colby.
Oh, that Colby grabbed it and saved it. I don't know how that car was full 90 degrees to the corner, and he was able to drive off. Going down to turn 1, Colby drove it in deep, went under, opened the opportunity for the 93 to get underneath of him. And for Kevin DeBrown, he did what he was supposed to do, stay on that quarter panel, but you're not supposed to tag it as you go in. Tag, you're it. But Colby, amazing save, and he's going to hang on to third.
This is, well, I don't think the 28 is going to take too kindly to that, even though a little, no harm, no foul. They're going to go back green flag racing with less than 3 to go. This may take us into overtime. We'll have to see how this all works out. Kevin DeBrown, though, now he's in a little bit of a pickle because Patrick Colby is going to be, Patrick Colby's going to be, it could potentially be behind him, depending on where Schildhouse picks here. But ultimately, Colby does not owe him anything as they roll off into turn 1 and 2. And he's going to be underneath there, potentially able to pinch it down. Can Colby get the pass done and run down the 20 car in enough time? I don't know if we're going to see it. A couple of headlines here really quick. Justin Fuller fell all the way back to 7th again. A significant amount of damage on that left front of the 51 car. There's really not much more you could do there, though. You're not going to come down pit road and give up this track position. A tight points battle here with Justin Fuller, David Schildhouse. Fuller only out front +4 over Schildhouse, and right now I do believe Schildhouse would take the lead. So this is certainly going to be a points impacting night for the 51. Another driver not having the night he wanted to have, but a decent recovery. That is Cody Harris. He was involved in that incident. He's got some damage on that 95. He is sitting just inside that top 10 in that 10th spot, so not a bad recovery. Just wants to try to hang on here. Again, another driver into playoff point contention, starting to think about the end of this season and where he needs to be to capitalize. Kevin, this track is obviously unique to the next 3 we go to. These next 3 are going to be really aero dependent. I wouldn't call them true cookie cutters, but more the NASCAR oval you expect to see throughout the season. I suspect we will see some of these drivers really start to bubble that talent up, and those that need a short track or need a technical track to have a decent finish here, you've got to dig what you could get here at the very end of this.
Yeah, all 3 of those tracks, Kansas, Charlotte, and Las Vegas, reward drivers who are fast and speed in the 20 and the 51. are there, so they have to be the two drivers who you're going to look to be favorites for the next couple of weeks here. But right now, I don't know if I'm David Schildhouse. I'm a little nervous. I just want this thing to be over with and see if I can get it. 28, deep breath, best tires, slid him a little bit, but he's got a good position, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Patrick Colby challenging for this. 3 to go, pace car just about to turn off, and we're about to settle it here at the Magic Mile.
David Schildhouse, he needs to have one of the best restarts of the night. He's had some good ones, but the 28 car is going to be right on the bumper. He's going to get checked up, a little bit of an accordion effect through the field. Schildhouse gets rolling. He gets cleared to Brown. Patrick Colby, he's in trouble. Miles is going to look underneath him. Deep dive down in, 3 wide as they roll through 1 and 2. The caution out again.
Yeah, problems for the 8 of Randy Yoakum, who was, I think, sitting there in the top 10. But this is going to benefit Cody Harris with those fresh tires. He'll be in the Justin Fuller playbook mode of trying to get past everything. His pace car comes out of turn number 2 in the 8, has grabbed the gear and driven away, and we are under caution number 17.
Yeah, Randy Yoakum making, we're basically just losing it there on his own. Had a couple small tags, but ultimately some of the drivers back there already had a little bit of damage. And I think this, Kevin, I do believe this is going to firmly take us into NASCAR overtime here with David Schildhouse leading. And you've got to think the helmet space of that 20 car, like you said, he's just ready to be done.
Yeah, I mean, every time there's an opportunity for a restart is another opportunity for somebody to run him down. And he has to be flawless. And, you know, I think one of the things that we've not paid attention to is what's his restart zone options been? Go early, go late, go middle, whatever. Try and change it up. I'm sure he's doing something every time to make sure that he's not a sitting duck. And thus far, you have to say the restarts have been pretty good. It's easy with tires that you pitted on lap 83 to spin the tires here. And, you know, what I hadn't noticed is some drivers are starting in first, slamming it into second right on the green. Other drivers are starting in second, and that will make a difference in your launch. And thus far, nobody's been able to touch Schildhouse, who's been out front.
Yeah, not enough of a green flag run to matter here at the very end. And the driver, I think, that may have had the tire at least to do was Patrick Colby. And he unfortunately, you can just tell he probably went a little early, had to check up, and right as he checked up, the 20 just let it roll really well there. So Colby's going to lose a spot to Comstock, so that's going to put him on the outside road too. So that means he's going to have to contend with Kevin DeBrow, but ultimately we're going to NASCAR overtime here, I do believe. And with that, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to see the green flag as long as you make it all the way back around to the white. It is a race to the checkered. But if they were to see a caution come out before that white flag waves, we're going to re-rack it and try it again here as Schildhouse, again, is just waiting for, he just wants to have another really solid restart. Those tires starting to wear considerably here. And not only that, but the handling conditions of the car, the fuel load is some of the lightest it's been so far here tonight. Keep in mind, he's been out on that, on this basically set of tires and this fuel load here for roughly 50 laps. So closing in on halfway for the race, and you've got what you've got here, including that damage on the front splitter.
Yeah, and a lot of these drivers are also keeping in mind that points matter in this first round. Jason Karlovage, 71 laps down, the 88 of Mark Jorgensen in trouble. If you're in this top 5, bring the thing home one way or another. Is in the restart zone, green, green, green. And not the greatest restart, although Schildhouse able to pull out past the 93. But the 93 is going to, well, I thought he was going to get to the quarter panel. He's at the bumper coming off of turn 2.
Yeah, not a whole lot of place to go there for the 93 of the 28 of Patrick Colby. Now, DeBrown overdriving quarter entry a little bit. Oh, it looks like the 28 is going to get leaned on by the 13. David Schildhouse is going to see the white flag one more time around here at New Hampshire.
Schildhouse out right now for about a half a car length. DeBrown trying to chase him down. He's got a good run up off of turn 2. He's going to draw to the bumper on the back straightaway. Half a car length out. Will DeBrown run it deep into turn number 3 to try and get to the bumper? He's going to choose the high line and see if he could drive down. He's got a good run. He's going to get there. He's at the bumper at the exit of turn 4. Shieldhouse blocking as they go to the green flag.
Yeah, come across the stripe there. The checkered flag waves. David Shieldhouse is your winner here tonight. Kevin DeBrown, Patrick Colby, David Comstock, your top 4 here. Stephen Miles, Jose Gonzalez, Thomas George, Anthony Calatoni, Kevin Justin Fuller hung on to a top 10 here. Not a bad night, for all intents and purposes for the 51. But ultimately, kudos go to the 51 there. He's going to get some taps from a couple drivers. Congratulations, David Shieldhouse. Here comes Cody Harris to share some love. Man, and it truly does look like that 20 car's got some nose damage, but it doesn't matter. He's going to victory lane here in New Hampshire. We're going to step aside for just a moment. We'll bring you some post-race coverage. You're watching Turn 1. David Shieldhouse continues to burn it down here on the front stretch. But let's quickly talk to third place Patrick Colby. Patrick, you had a lot of fans up here in the booth tonight. You look like you had the pit strategy played out. You have those newer tires. That second to last restart, though it looks like you got caught out of position there by the 20 car. Walk us through this wild night here at New Hampshire and ultimately what came down to the finish there.
Yeah, really good race. I guess I should start on pit road more often, but it was more kind of about just taking my time through here. I knew it was going to be a slog with all the cautions and stuff, and I wish I didn't blow turn 1 there. Once I get past the 93, I might have had a shot at David, but all in all, just good race. A lot of patience needed to get around here.
Patrick, we talked a couple times here tonight. This is a very technical track here at New Hampshire, and we move on to more NASCAR, true NASCAR, in the sense of not necessarily cookie cutters, but more bigger, wider, longer tracks here down the stretch of the playoffs. What do you got in store for this field as we look ahead the next 2 to 3 weeks?
Just really kind of keep building on what I've been able to accomplish the last 2 months of the season here. I feel like I've gained a lot of pace, so just kind of keep getting good finishes and see how it all plays out at the end of this. I'd love to make the championship round. That's a tall task for somebody who's run 20th all year.
Patrick Colby finding some pace here at the end of the summer and all at the right time heading off into the playoffs. Hey, finish the start here tonight, Patrick. Congratulations. We appreciate you taking the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.
Patrick Colby again finishing here in the top 3. A really good run for that driver. And we will quickly go ahead while we've got him. We'll go ahead and talk to the 20 driver, David Shieldhouse. He played the pit strategy just right, able to bring home the victory here tonight at New Hampshire. David, first of all, congratulations. I know the children probably enjoyed the show over there. Walk us through your night in the driver's seat.
Well, it is good to hear your voice again. It's been over 3 months since I've been able to get a post-race interview for doing a good job in one of these things, and I couldn't think of a better time to pick it back up and go back to victory lane than here at the start of the chase. Win number 10 on the season. It was a long time since number 9. A lot's changed, and it hasn't been good, but I don't know, man. We just came out firing on all cylinders. New Hampshire is one of my least favorite racetracks. I have historically not performed really well at this track, but I got to give a big shout out to my man, Briar LaPrade, my spotter, my crew chief, my therapist, my coach. He really helped me out tonight, got me prepared for this race, did a lot of practice to get used to it and just be ready. And we had to survive the strategy calls. We felt confident in the pace, felt good about what we could do on older tires, and just sort of had faith that it would work itself out. I mean, I had to drive through the field a couple of times and really was a blast to do that. And then survive late race restarts. There's so many good guys in this league. But there's no place I'd rather be than leading at late race restarts on a short track. Like, it was absolute chaos. It just feels so good to win, man, and send a message that we went to sleep for a while, but we woke back up, and we're serious about winning this championship. They can't forget about us.
David Schildhouse putting together a really strong run here tonight. But David, that came at as you mentioned, the expense of some runs through the field. Talk to us about having to navigate this field of 35 cars on those offsetting pit strategies. That was the big story of the night. Everybody electing to taking different strategies and different thoughts on when to take those tires. Did you come into tonight with a set process in mind, and did you stick to it, or did it all get thrown out the window there early?
I think when the caution flew at lap 20 and everyone pitted, we just agreed that we weren't going to pit there. It was just too early, and we were just going to try and do our own thing and try to win the race that way. Like, I've lost a lot of these races recently in painful, horrible ways. So I just wanted to go on the offense and try to win one by doing something a little bit different. But it's breathtaking going through the field, even with better tires. The way we spread out, all the lanes working, the way the cars move up and down between the lanes and the dashed lines, it's harrowing. And sometimes it works and it's beautiful. Sometimes it doesn't work and it's destructive. But man, I feel good to have gotten through the field a couple of times without too much issue. You know, we had the issue with the 26 and the 41 off turn 2 there, and was really worried that it really killed the car, but thankfully it didn't. Everything just sort of fell our way, and when we were thrust back in the lead, when the 51 pitted, I felt pretty confident at that point he wasn't going to get back up there. It was going to be too hard, and the guys behind me were going to fight really hard to hold on to that spot. But man, with this car the way that it is now after the update, the skill, it's just a different skill, man. Like, winning those races at the first part of the year, the car was just way different, and what it takes to win these races now, I just haven't been able to bring week in and week out, because it's more than skill. There's a lot of luck and track position and those things that just have to sort of fall into your lap, and it's just really nice and refreshing to remember what that feels like and have it fall in my lap tonight, and then be able to take advantage of it, because you can have all that and still screw it up. We didn't screw it up tonight. We're winners again, and again, it's bringing that momentum into the start of the chase. Feels really, really good. It would be nice to just remind these guys that the 20 car is still a threat.
Well, David, I think they firmly feel that here. I got one final thing for you here. So I know tonight you mentioned no place you'd rather be is a late race restart on a short track. Well, the next couple weeks, we flip it on its head and we start to go to these bigger tracks where it's going to be more dependent. Qualifying effort is probably going to matter more than anything at these next 3 or 4 tracks. Walk us through, what have you learned over the summer in that slump that you felt the 20 car and ultimately overcoming here, especially tonight? But is there some lessons there to fall back on to make sure you're successful and consistent as you take the points lead after New Hampshire?
Qualifying, it starts there. I haven't been good at qualifying for a lot of this season, and it's been one of my weaker points. And now with the way the car is and dirty air and the way that we race, track position is just so vitally important. So the better you can start off in these races, the better your chances are. But as we saw tonight, you can start up front and have something go wrong, and we had a couple big wrecks up front. So, I got to step up qualifying. The less racing I have to do, the better. And that's really, as I analyzed the first, 18 races or so before the update and the summer break, I just didn't have to race a lot of people. I spent a lot of time out front, didn't have to race through the field as many times, and didn't just have to race with a lot of people. So, but I do remember at Kansas in the spring, I think I started 33rd or somewhere back there and still won it. So I'm not saying I can do that again. I don't even want to try it because the car just doesn't work that way anymore. So the less people I have to race, the better. And then just having a clean race, executing on pit road, not getting caught up in other people's mess. I didn't have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And it's really been something I haven't been able to avoid for the past couple of months since then. And so having a clean race, not screwing it up with pit strategy, not getting caught up in other people's messes, qualifying good, and then just executing, doing everything I can from my end to keep this car out of harm's way and in clean air as much as I can do that. So we'll head to Kansas looking to defend the win from earlier this year and put down another win. And but at this point, got to stay in the top 16. I think we're going to do that with this format. I like it. I don't feel any pressure. And, this could be the start of a second run, a rebirth for the 20 car to take back over and really lead the way for a championship as we head through the final 9 races. That's my plan.
Finding speed, finding victory lane, and finding the points lead. David Schildhouse, your winner here tonight in New Hampshire. David, thank you for the time tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. I want to give a big thank you to Splash Go Graphics for the beautiful paint scheme. Everybody at twitch.tv/Shieldhouse, the children. Man, they stood behind me even in these tough times. So I love them. I'm super appreciative for them and their support to give them a win tonight and keep everything positive for once. It's nice to just walk away after Monday night feeling good about this for once. And so I appreciate their support. Everybody at Cook's Landscape Group for supporting the league. You guys for broadcasting it. This is one I'm going to be excited to go back and watch again. And I'm just ready to get after it to Kansas, man. But again, a big thank you to Briar LaPrade for the help tonight, and a shout out to my man Pedro Mojica. We talked at Bristol last week after a little run-in, on last Monday, and he gave me a very good talk. And I took that to heart. I listened to what he had to say, and I think it paid off tonight. So just had a couple really powerful messages thrown my way and people looking out for me. And I really do appreciate that support. It means a lot. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thank you, David. David Shieldhouse, your winner here at New Hampshire. We'll kick it over to Kevin, who I think is getting ready to speak with our second-place driver, Kevin DeBrown.
Yeah, hey, Kevin, it was a race of up and down tonight. In the end, you were the right side of the strategy, a solid second-place finish with a shot at the win and a good points night to start off the first round for the championship.
Oh yeah, and God, that first lap stuff that sucked. That was a little embarrassing. I thought Mark got into me at first, but then looking back at it, we just got loose and it just overcorrected. But it's a good recovery.
Yeah, tire strategy in this track, technical, difficult, multiple lanes, people coming and going, trying to figure out when to take the last set of tires. Take us through your strategy tonight and how you got yourself a second place finish.
Well, it was I had to set land after fixing all that damage. I did have 3 minutes of damage I had to fix. But I just followed, honestly, Chad and David there, are my teammates. I knew staying out, it was kind of difficult to get through traffic, especially with fresh tires, I noticed. So we were just planning to stay out like Chad and them did, and we pitted with them. And luckily, we were able to get past through some traffic and get there and get in second the way we were. And it was fun racing up there, I'll tell you that.
Heck of a run into turn one for that final lap. You rolled the car up and you got a good run off of turn two. You were at the back bumper of the 20. What would it have taken to get around him?
Maybe a bumper. I don't know. These cars are solid. I knew David was going to send it in there thinking I was going to send it in there. So I was trying to roll the exit to at least try to get to his corner pedal and maybe be able to slow him up. But he just had the power down. I think he took 2 tires in there, so he was rotating a lot better than we were.
Well, I have to say the WBD diecast number 93 Racing Pride Ford looked outstanding tonight. You showed a lot of speed, and that's a great way to start the run for the championship. Mid-pack in the championship standings, but a second place finish, that's the great way to start it. What are you going to have for Kansas next week?
I don't know. We're going to do some testing. We're going to try to be good like we were today. Hopefully back it up another pole and not do what I did on the first lap and mess up. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Great way to start it off. Congratulations on your second place finish, and we'll be looking for you for the rest of the championship hunt. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Of course, Wesley for painting the paint scheme, WBD Diecast. Check him out. Racing Pride for coming on this season. You guys are putting on a show. I can't wait. Always love watching it. And yeah, Sub 500.
There you go, Kevin DeBrown, second place finish tonight at New Hampshire as we head into Kansas. Don't count this guy out. He's always the threat when he gets to those racetracks where there's a lot of speed. In Kansas and Charlotte, they're going to be 2 of them. Go celebrate with your crew there, Kevin, and thanks for taking the time to talk to us, and we'll turn back to Sean to bring us home.
Hey, guys.
Thanks, Kevin. And yeah, what a wild night here at New Hampshire. A lot of racing, a lot of action on track all over this New Hampshire Speedway. No sort of cautions. That flag man's got a little bit of an arm cramp tonight, but that's okay because ultimately they got it done. And when they were green flag, it looked sporty the entire way. Kevin, I think we saw a mix of everything tonight. We saw, as you have pointed out, this is a very technical racetrack. We saw pit strategy be a key play in this race tonight. We saw the fast guys be fast. We saw guys that aren't always up front or in the top 10 running up there, taking advantage of some of those incidents. We saw, we saw some comers and goers. We saw some really big storylines, notably that 51 car and the 88 of Jorgensen and others. But ultimately, tonight it was a David Schildhouse show, and the Children had has taken over New Hampshire. What a wild night! I think this is a great way to kick off the next 9-week run.
Yeah, when I think about New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile, I use one word: unpredictable. And that's what we saw tonight. It was an entertaining race, and Kansas is the same thing. Just an amazing racetrack. Drivers really hustle through turns 1 and 2, and I expect pit strategy, fuel savings, and other factors to come into play for next week. So don't miss it. Come on back. We're going to have a second run at the championship, and it should be outstanding, just like tonight.
Yeah, it'll be absolutely great to see. And you can find every moment of it right here on Turn 1 next Monday night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, right here with Sean and Kevin. We'd love to have you back. On behalf of the league admins with the Sim 500 group, I'm Sean Fitz. That's Kevin England. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next Monday evening for more Cup action. Good night, everybody.